Hey, how are you? I believe that you're holding up tight right there wherever you are and you're doing fine. In this episode here, we're going to be sojourning into chapter summaries of Fathers of Nations from chapter 1 all throughout to chapter 15. But again, before that one, I just want also to remind you that this is a different playlist. Of course, different from A Silent Song and Other Stories that you've been doing, and previously that was under short stories. But of course, we've just placed a pause there because we want to do these things, and even as we're uploading them, trying to look at what we expected, you as learners, and of course, a couple of few things here and there. Remember, this is one of the new changes, one of the changes that have been made in these coming calendar of events, and you expect this narrative to be handled, and it's going to replace, of course, the Henry Olekulet's Blossoms of the Savannah, that this year's exam was the last cohort that sat for. And without that much further ado, hoping that you've read maybe chapter 1 and even chapter 2, chapter 3, because you're going to sojourn. We're going to be looking at a couple of few things here and there, a review of very many things. And of course, it's just the beginning, and we're giving it the fresh touch on this particular text here. Before I forget, in case you're coming across this work, it is your first time into maybe bumping across the channel, or a friend of yours referred you to this particular channel here, how about a thumbs up, a subscription rather? You hit that notification bell up right there, and that will make sure that in our future uploads or future updates, you will be the first one to be notified on our developments. Having said that one, let's dive into it. This is Fathers of Nation, by Paul B. Vitta. Chapter 1 summary, that is between page 1 to 15. And this is Liberty Media Class. Brace yourself as I take you through. Of course, the narrative begins by four strangers with the same mission. It is in the evening. Four strangers check in at Seamount Hotel in Gambia's capital, Banjul. None of them knows the other three. The first, to 69 years old, Karanja Kimani, a professor in the Institute of Development at the University of Nairobi, Kenya, is assigned a room on the 4th floor, East Wing. Ngobile Melusi, about 70, a comrade and a citizen of Zimbabwe, is second to check in and is allocated a room on the 5th floor of the South Wing. The third to clock in is about 50, Chineke Chiamaka, a pastor at the church Inside Africa, CIA, in Lagos, Nigeria. Chiamaka is booked on the 6th floor of the West Wing. Last to report is another stranger, about 40. All of these ones are strangers. His name is Saif Tahir, an engineer formerly employed by the Ministry of Defense in the Tripoli, Libya. He is assigned a room on the 3rd floor, North Wing. In less than an hour after the booking of all the four strangers quote unquote, receives a call from the same caller who declines to divulge details about himself. He only identifies himself as the guide and gives the same set of instructions about opening their briefcases using a similar code, 1124. 1124. The code number fails to open the briefcases in all the four cases. Meanwhile, Dr. Abiola Afolabi, another guest at the hotel, hears someone call him from behind from the introduction. From the introduction, Dr. Afolabi meets Fiona Mackenzie, a reporter with Gambia News, a Gambian who was adopted by Ian and Elspeth Mackenzie, Scottish missionaries. She was brought up in Edinburgh, Scotland, and is now back to Banjul. An interview ensues. Dr. Afolabi is disclosed. He schooled at Harvard University in the US and currently teaches at the University of Ibadan. He is 45 and he is an advisor to the heads of state. Africans' heads of state are soon to start debate at Pinnacle Hotel, a hotel that is 2 streets from the Seamount Hotel. The heads of state are soon to discuss a document titled Way Omega. If adopted, Way Omega is expected to change African politics drastically. There are to be no more military coups, no more rigged elections, no more foul play. Dr. Abiola Afolabi is the author of Failure of States, in which he is so pessimistic about African state of affairs, and yet in Way Omega he is very optimistic. He was invited by the president. The interview ends prematurely after her boss calls her to the office. On the other hand, 49 foreign heads of state are in Banjul for the summit. They still look happy for Gambians. The presence of so many visiting dignitaries isn't fun. Here, before dignitaries came, bulldozers were dispatched at night in slum clearance exercise, demolished roadside kiosks on which whole families depended upon. Roads go rare layers of tarmac at times of maximum traffic. Checkpoints sprouted everywhere. Water taps dried up because all water had to go to the new water foundations built to mesmerize the visitors. Catastrophes can happen even at summits. All heads of state are to be put in one hotel, Pinnacle Hotel, so that security is concentrated at the hotel instead of having 50 places to be manned. A few challenges are noted on how well to take care of the dignitaries in terms of seating arrangement at the summit and the hotel arrangement. Now, that of course at that particular end marks the end of chapter 1 summary. How I wish that you go through this particular summary quietly at the comfort of your place, of your timing, and of course with a small notebook, jotting down the key aspects here and there, the key moments, the highlights, and only then will these come clearer. But at this point, it's an adios until we meet up for our chapter 2 of Fathers of Nations by Paul B. Vitta.